What it do, yo? It's your boy Tay the Director, and I'm here for another cinematic music video tutorial.
I wish that things get better sometime. Wish that you were more good. I can wait for you.
Today I have 5 tips to make your videos more cinematic. If you follow these 5 tips, your videos are definitely gonna look more cinematic. These are the 5 tips that I live by every time I pick up the camera and I shoot a video. This is what's going on in my head. So I'm gonna basically tell you guys what I do, bro. So y'all stay tuned, follow, and here we go. Alright, tip 1, crop bars. When you're shooting, you basically want to use crop bars. Back in the day, or most cameras, they shoot in the 16:9 format. But back in the day, a lot of cameras shoot in 235 or 240 cinescope. So to get your videos to look more, and that derives from anamorphic shooting, when people shoot on anamorphics and the film look and all that stuff. We can get in depth to that. My film course that's coming soon is actually gonna have all that stuff in it. So y'all stay tuned and definitely buy that film course. I'm gonna leave a link to the description for overlays for you guys, or if you want to do it the right way, I'll leave a link to all of the different aspect ratios for when you're shooting, like if you're in 4K, 1080p, or whatever you're shooting in. The main thing is, you don't really want to shoot, if you're doing documentaries or like a TV show or something like that, you can shoot in 16:9, but if you're shooting music video or cinematic film or movie, you definitely want to shoot in cinescope. I argue with my partner with this all the time, you know, I don't know, but that's what I do, and that's how I do it, and y'all love it, so it is what it is. You basically go in Premiere Pro, you go in sequence, you hit sequence, and then the drop down menu is gonna come, and once you go in sequence, you basically, it's gonna show you the parameters 4096 by 2160. You just basically go and you change the 2160 to 1716. If you're in 4K, that is the number 1716. Okay, so that's tip 1. Okay, now tip 2 is protecting your highlights. Film cameras, the difference between film cameras and DSLR, the major difference is dynamic range. When you have a Red or an ARRI, they have more dynamic range, so they can produce more ranges of light to dark, like your eyes, more naturally, like your eyes. Like a Red has 16.5 stops of dynamic range, and a DSLR maybe has 12 or 10, or you know, it just depends. Dynamic range is basically the range from light to darkness that the camera can capture. And whenever you're shooting a film or putting your camera on a subject or a scenery, you're gonna have to choose between the lightest parts of the scene or the darkest parts of the scene. If you want your music videos to look more cinematic, you protect those highlights. You never let them blow out. You protect the highlights and you add more lights to other parts of the image. And that is the #1 way. A lot of times we run and gun and we just go shoot. We'll go out and we'll shoot and we don't have too much lighting. As much as you can, even if you have a quasar on the side or something, you want to protect those highlights. You want to fill the image, especially with these GH5s and film cameras, because they record different than DSLRs. And it took me to really shoot with the GH5 to understand that. Like with the GH5, you'll get film grain, a lot of film grain. With the 6D, it'll look more digital grain. It doesn't look as good if you don't like the subject, or if it's below, what, 30 IRE. That's another tip too. Shoot above 30 IRE with the GH5. Try to light your subjects to where it's over 30 IRE, and that's the lowest dark points. You want to protect your highlights. If it's the bright sun, you want to keep that sky. If it's out of a window, you want to keep all the background out of the window. You don't want to shoot to where it's blown out. You want to light inside or light the subject that's in front of it if you're facing the sun or whatever. Protect your highlights, man. Bro, protect your highlights. That's tip number 2. If you protect your highlights, your videos are going to look more cinematic and have more of a filmic feel to it, because that's what we're used to seeing. In big videos and big cinema, you don't really see highlights blown out too much unless it's an effect, like a dreamy effect or something like that. So, number 2, protect your highlights. Tip number 3, more supporting B-roll. Don't just have your artist standing there, have supporting B-roll. If you're shooting cinematic films, you really only want to have the scenes that support the story. You don't want to have just random B-roll everywhere. Don't do that shit. Don't do it. Anyways, but If you're shooting a music video and the artist is trapping or the artist is doing whatever he's doing, you want to shoot B-roll that supports whatever he's talking about. If he's talking about a female, cars, money, get that B-roll in multiple scenes, multiple different ways, so that way when you go home and you edit, it's going to be a lot easier for you. It's just going to flow. You don't want the artist or rapper just sitting there changing for 3-4 scenes without seeing no B-roll or supporting images. It's going to be boring. You're going to lose, unless it's like $1 million artist that's just doing something crazy like Pliers or Birdman that people are really interested in. If it's just a up-and-coming artist, or even if it's a big artist, you'll get more out of the video if you have supporting B-roll. Nice close-up shots, nice far shots, establishing shots. B-roll that moves the story along, so it's not like, oh, I already seen this. That's tip number 3 from me. Giving you guys my jewels. Use it. Tip number 4. Shoot in 24 frames. If you have a camera that you can shoot in 24 frames, do it. Don't shoot 60 everything. A lot of people, I've worked with a lot of directors and stuff that shoot everything in 60 so they can slow down. I mean, you can do that. It's a great tactic. If you're on a run and gun, you don't know if you can get some B-roll, you just got to run 1-2 takes, you got to do it. You can shoot in 60, but if you got the time to really sit down and structure your film, you want to shoot in 24 frames for the performances and 60 or 48 frames for B-roll, and then separate that and make your performances 24 frames. Trust me, 24 frames is due to the motion blur that you receive from that. With 24 frames, you get more natural motion blur that you will see with your eye or that we're used to because of cinema. 48 frames for your B-roll and 24 frames for your cinematic motion captures, like your performances and other stuff like that that's going in real time. That's really going to help you and really solidify that filmic look. If you look at videos that I've shot, it just looks so filmic and it's like, I don't know. The reason why everybody shoots in 24 is because back in the days, they used to try to save film stock, basically, and shooting in 60, you'd spend more money, and 24 was the lowest that you wouldn't get too much motion blur, and yeah, that's why we all shoot in 24 frames pretty much. But 24 frames is what we're all used to, so shoot in it. So for the 5th tip, dark side lighting. I can't stress how much dark side lighting is important. Dark side lighting is basically where you set the light up and you shoot on the other side. If you look at my face right now, I'm on bright side lighting or key lighting, whatever they want to call that. I know dark side light. Basically, I have the camera placed on the same angle that the light is hitting me. If I wanted a more cinematic feel, I would have most of the brightness coming from the back of me and then shoot. If you notice how the lighting is right now, my face is lit up and the sides of me are not lit, or the back. If you wanted this to look more cinematic, you would shoot at an angle, possibly over here, to where the side that's facing the camera is the dark side of the image. So examples of this would be this. And it basically just makes your video look more cinematic. So you would put a big rim light or a backlight on the subject, and then you would put a soft key light in the front, and you would dial it up to where it looks right in the image or in the camera, and you would always shoot on the dark side as much as you can. If you're doing artist performances and stuff, yeah, you can get away with the front side lighting, you do that, but if you stick to the dark side lighting rule, your videos are going to look way more cinematic. So this is your boy Tay the Director, and those are my 5 tips for more cinematic videos. If you guys felt like this was helpful, go down, subscribe, drop a comment, hit the like button. I need it. We at 810 subscribers right now. You know I'm trying to get to that 1,000. At 1,000, we're gonna do a giveaway. And I'm continuing spilling all my jewels, man. If you guys love the videos, love what I'm doing with the GH5 and the Reds, man, just drop a comment, man. Let me know. I'd appreciate it. This is what keeps the channel going. Stay tuned. We have more to come.